Billionaire's son was failing every test, until the maid's daughter showed him this one secret. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. The story begins with a young man named Alex. Alex was the only child of one of the wealthiest and most influential men in the country, a man who had built his empire from the ground up, creating an empire that spanned across industries. He was admired by his peers, envied by many, and adored by his employees. But as powerful and successful as Alex's father was, his son, Alex, had always struggled with one thing: school. Despite the best tutors money could buy, the best private schools, and the most advanced learning technologies available, Alex could not seem to pass even the most basic tests. It was a constant source of frustration and disappointment for his father, who had high hopes for his son to follow in his footsteps and continue building the family legacy. But Alex's grades were slipping further and further, and the pressure to succeed was becoming unbearable. Every time his father asked about his performance, Alex would make excuses or simply look down, feeling ashamed of his failures. The other students at his prestigious school had no problem excelling. They seemed to breeze through their exams with ease, while Alex struggled, barely passing his tests. The weight of this academic failure crushed him. At home, things weren't any better. His father would look at him with disappointment in his eyes, saying things like, "You're not living up to your potential, Alex. You need to focus. You need to do better." Alex was beginning to feel hopeless, as if he would never be good enough. But everything was about to change. It happened one day after school when Alex's family had a gathering at their mansion. His father, as usual, had invited some of his closest business associates and partners to discuss upcoming deals. Alex knew he wasn't expected to attend, so he decided to sneak off to the library. It was his favorite place in the house, a quiet sanctuary where he could escape the pressure of the real world. As Alex wandered through the massive mansion, he stumbled upon a room he had never noticed before. The room was tucked away behind a set of double doors, and it was filled with large bookshelves and a desk stacked high with papers. At the far end of the room, Alex noticed a young girl. She was the daughter of one of the staff members, a maid who worked for Alex's family. Her name was Mia, and she was sitting at the desk, writing something in a notebook. Mia was a quiet girl, about Alex's age, with dark brown hair and bright, inquisitive eyes. She had been working in the mansion for a few years, but Alex had never really paid much attention to her. She wasn't part of the world that Alex inhabited, a world of power, wealth, and privilege. But today, something about her caught his attention. She was scribbling away in her notebook with intense focus, her pencil moving quickly as if she were solving some complex problem. Alex couldn't help but feel intrigued. He had seen her cleaning around the house many times, but he had never seen her this absorbed in something. He walked over to her quietly and peeked at what she was writing. To his surprise, it was a set of difficult math problems, the kind that even his private tutors had struggled to explain to him. But Mia was solving them effortlessly. Alex couldn't believe his eyes. How was this girl, who came from a family of servants, able to solve these advanced problems so easily? As Alex stood there in awe, Mia looked up at him, her eyes meeting his with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. "Oh, I didn't see you there," she said softly. Alex stammered. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just curious. How do you know all this? How can you solve these problems so easily?" Mia smiled shyly and shrugged. "I just love math. I've always been good at it. My mother used to teach me when I was younger." Alex felt a rush of emotions. Here was someone he had never paid attention to, someone from a completely different world, who had a gift he could only dream of. In that moment, Alex realized that Mia held the key to something he had been missing all his life, a way to unlock his potential. He knew right then and there that he had to learn from her. Mia had no idea that her quiet determination and brilliance would change the course of Alex's life. As she continued to solve problem after problem, Alex made a decision. He was going to ask her to teach him. Little did he know, this simple act of asking would set off a chain of events that would transform his life forever. Alex stood there for a moment, stunned by Mia's easy confidence and her ability to solve the complex math problems that had eluded him for so long. He had never expected to find someone like her in this grand mansion, someone from a completely different world who could do something he struggled with every day. Mia was just a maid's daughter, but in that moment, she seemed like the answer to all of his academic problems. His mind raced with possibilities. Could she really teach him how to succeed, the way she made math look so easy? He finally gathered his thoughts and stepped forward. Mia, I need your help, he said, his voice shaking with uncertainty. Mia looked up at him, her expression softening. She had always been quiet and reserved, never one to draw attention to herself. But now, as she looked at Alex, she saw something she hadn't expected, a genuine plea for help. What do you need help with? She asked, her tone kind but cautious. I'm failing my classes, Alex admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I've tried everything, but nothing works. I've had the best tutors, the best schools, and still, I can't get things right. But you're solving these problems like it's nothing. How do you do it? Mia paused for a moment, then closed her notebook and set her pencil down. She looked at Alex, her expression thoughtful. It's not about having the best tutors or the best schools, she said quietly. It's about understanding how to approach the problem. You've been taught the wrong way. Alex blinked, confused. The wrong way. Yes, Mia nodded. You've been taught to memorize the formulas, to get the right answer without understanding why it works. But if you don't understand the logic behind it's hard to keep up. You need to learn to think critically, to understand the principles behind the problem. Alex's eyes widened. He had never thought about it that way before. It was always about memorizing the steps, doing what he was told, and hoping it worked. He had never been taught to think for himself, to question the process. Can you teach me? He asked, his voice filled with both hope and desperation. Mia smiled, a small but genuine smile. I can try, she said. But it's going to take time, and you have to be willing to work at it. This isn't going to be like anything you've done before. Alex nodded eagerly. He had nothing to lose. If Mia could help him, maybe he could finally break free from the cycle of failure he had been trapped in. Over the next few weeks, Mia and Alex met after school in the quiet room where she had been working. Alex was surprised at how much he was learning. Mia didn't just teach him how to solve problems. She showed him how to think about them, how to break them down into smaller pieces, how to see patterns that weren't immediately obvious. It wasn't easy, and there were times when Alex felt frustrated and wanted to give up. But Mia was patient. She never gave up on him, even when he doubted himself. Slowly but surely, Alex's grades began to improve. At first, it was just small changes. He passed a test he had failed before. He understood a concept that had always confused him. But soon, the improvements were undeniable. His teachers began to notice, and his classmates started to ask him how he was doing so well. I get it now, Alex said one day after acing a particularly difficult exam. I understand it. Mia nodded, a proud but quiet smile on her face. She knew it wasn't just about the grades. It was about Alex learning to believe in himself, to trust his own abilities. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt confident. He had taken control of his education, and he owed it all to Mia. But there was still one thing left. The moment when he would have to face his father, the man who had always been disappointed in him, the man who had always expected more. Alex had been dreading this moment for weeks. But now he was ready. He walked into his father's office, holding his latest report card in his hand. Dad, Alex said, his voice steady. I have something to show you. His father looked up from his desk, raising an eyebrow. What is it, son? He asked. Alex handed over the report card. His father took it, glanced at the grades, and then looked back up at Alex, his expression unreadable. For a moment, there was silence. And then, Alex's father let out a slow breath. Well, he said, a hint of surprise in his voice, I'll be damned. You did it. Alex smiled, but it was more than just a smile of achievement. It was a smile of someone who had finally proved to himself that he was capable of more than he had ever believed. Weeks went by, and Alex's transformation continued. His grades improved steadily, and his newfound confidence began to show in other areas of his life. For the first time, he felt like he was in control of his future, something he had never experienced before. But as much as Alex was succeeding academically, there was still one thing that lingered in the back of his mind. His relationship with his father. Alex had proven himself in school, But he knew his father had always seen him as a failure, as someone who couldn't live up to the expectations set before him. He had seen the disappointment in his father's eyes too many times to ignore. As the weeks passed, Alex's father began to notice the changes. He couldn't ignore the improvement in Alex's performance, nor could he deny the newfound spark in his son's eyes. It wasn't just the grades. It was the way Alex carried himself now, confident, determined, and finally taking charge of his life. One evening, Alex's father invited him to dinner at their favorite restaurant, a place where they often went for business meetings, but never for family bonding. The table was set, the wine was poured, and the soft hum of conversation surrounded them. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt nervous, not because of his grades, but because of the conversation he knew was coming. His father leaned across the table, studying him for a moment, as if trying to read him like one of the many business contracts. He signed. "Son," he began, his voice measured but with a hint of curiosity. "I've been hearing a lot about your progress in school. I have to admit, I didn't think this day would come. I thought you would always be, well, not where you are now." Alex felt his heart skip a beat. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. The moment to prove himself not just to his father, but to himself. "Dad," Alex said, his voice steady, "I know I've let you down in the past, and I know I've made mistakes. But I want you to know that I'm not the same person I was before. I've been working hard, and I finally get it now. I understand how to succeed. It's not just about memorizing facts and passing tests. It's about truly understanding the world around me and using that knowledge to make decisions. And I owe a lot of that to someone." His father raised an eyebrow. "Someone?" "Yes." Alex nodded, a smile tugging at his lips. "Mia. She taught me how to think differently, how to approach challenges in a way that I never thought possible. She showed me that I don't have to be defined by my failures. She taught me the value of persistence, patience, and above all, believing in myself." Alex's father leaned back in his chair, clearly taken aback by the mention of Mia. He had never given much thought to the staff members around the house, let alone their children. But now, as Alex spoke, he realized something. His son wasn't just improving in school, he was changing as a person. For the first time, Alex's father understood the depth of the transformation his son had undergone. "I see," his father said after a long pause, his voice softer than usual. "I didn't realize she had such an impact on you." Alex nodded. "She did more than just help me with schoolwork. She helped me find my confidence again. She showed me that it's not where you come from that matters. It's what you do with what you have." There was a moment of silence as his father processed this. Then, in a rare moment of vulnerability, he looked at Alex with a hint of pride in his eyes. "You've come a long way, son," he said quietly. "And I'm proud of you. I'll admit, I didn't think I'd ever see this day, but you've proven me wrong." Alex smiled, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the moment he had finally earned his father's respect. But there was more. Alex knew that he wasn't just proving something to his father. He was proving something to himself. He was proving that he wasn't defined by his failures, by his mistakes, or by the expectations of others. He was in control of his own destiny, and no one, not even his father, could take that away from him. As the evening went on, Alex and his father talked more freely than they ever had before. For the first time, they shared a conversation that wasn't about business or expectations, but about life and the future. It was a breakthrough, a new beginning in their relationship. And it all started with a girl who had nothing but a desire to help, a girl who had shown Alex that the secret to success wasn't just in the books, it was in believing in himself. As the weeks went by, Alex's life began to take on a new rhythm. His relationship with his father, once strained, grew stronger with each passing day. Alex had finally earned his father's respect, but there was still one thing left to do. Acknowledge the person who had made it all possible. Mia. He knew that without her, he would still be stuck in the same cycle of failure and self-doubt. He needed to show her just how much she had meant to him, but more importantly, how much she had changed his life. One afternoon, after a particularly grueling study session, Alex sat in the quiet room, reflecting on how far he had come. His mind wandered back to that day when he first saw Mia solving math problems with ease. He realized now that it wasn't just the knowledge she had shared with him that had made the difference. It was her unwavering belief in him. Mia had seen something in Alex that no one else had. She had believed in his potential when he couldn't even see it for himself. Alex knew he had to do something special to thank her. The idea came to him as he was sitting at the dinner table with his father. "Dad," Alex began, his voice steady but filled with excitement, "I want to do something for Mia." His father looked up, clearly intrigued. "Mia? The maid's daughter?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. Alex nodded. "Yes, she's the reason I've been able to turn things around. I want to show her that I'm grateful, that I see her, not just as someone who works for us, but as someone who has made a real difference in my life." His father studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I think that's a good idea. It's important to show gratitude, especially to those who help us when we least expect it." The following day, Alex made arrangements for a special dinner at one of the finest restaurants in the city. He invited Mia, her mother, and a few close friends. He wanted to make sure that Mia felt appreciated, that she knew how much her kindness had changed his life. When the night of the dinner arrived, Alex was nervous. He wasn't used to this kind of thing, but he knew it was the right thing to do. Mia, dressed in a simple but elegant outfit, arrived with her mother. She looked around the restaurant, clearly surprised by the lavish setting. Alex greeted her with a warm smile. "Mia," he said, "I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. Without your help, I don't know where I'd be right now." Mia looked at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Alex, you don't have to thank me. I just did what I thought was right." Alex shook his head. "No, Mia, you did more than that. You helped me find my way. You helped me believe in myself when no one else did. I owe you more than I could ever repay." As the evening went on, Alex and Mia spoke freely, sharing stories and laughter. It was the first time that Alex truly saw Mia as an equal, someone who had not only changed his life academically, but had also given him a new perspective on the world. The night ended with Alex offering Mia a scholarship to attend college, something he knew would open up new doors for her. "I want you to have every opportunity you deserve," he said. "You've earned it." Mia's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled brightly. "Thank you, Alex. You've done more for me than I could have ever imagined." It was a moment of pure connection, one that went beyond the differences in their backgrounds. In that moment, Alex realized that success wasn't just about grades or achievements. It was about the people who helped you along the way and the impact they had on your life. He had come to understand that true success was not measured by wealth or status, but by the relationships you built and the lives you touched. Mia had taught him that lesson, and now it was his turn to pass it on. As the evening came to a close, Alex walked Mia and her mother to the door, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and fulfillment. He had not only turned his life around, but he had also gained a friend for life. Mia had shown him the true meaning of success, and for that, he would be forever thankful. Months passed, and life for Alex had changed in ways he never thought possible. His academic success continued to soar, and his relationship with his father grew stronger every day. But Alex was more than just proud of his grades. The deeper transformation was in his character, his confidence, and his understanding of what true success meant. His father had even started to recognize the change in Alex, not just in his academic achievements, but in his overall outlook on life. However, Alex knew the journey wasn't over yet. He had a deep desire to continue paying forward the kindness Mia had shown him. One day, Alex sat in his father's office, the two of them going over business plans as usual. But this time, Alex couldn't hold back the thought that had been on his mind for weeks. "Dad, there's something I want to do," Alex began. His father glanced up, his expression curious but slightly distracted. "What is it, son?" he asked, still looking at the papers on his desk. "I want to set up a foundation," Alex said, his voice full of determination. "A foundation that helps kids, like Mia, who are overlooked by the world but have the potential to do incredible things." His father raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A foundation?" "Yes," Alex nodded. "Mia has shown me what it means to believe in someone, even when they're invisible to others. I want to help kids like her, kids with potential, but no resources. I want them to have the chance to succeed, to show the world what they can do." His father leaned back in his chair, thinking for a moment. Alex had always been driven, but this was different. This wasn't about business or legacy. It was about giving back, helping others rise up like Mia had helped him. Finally, Alex's father spoke. "That's a good idea, son. It's about time you used your position to do something bigger than just personal success." Alex smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. This was his way of paying Mia back, of ensuring that other kids who had the same potential would get the same chance he did. In the following months, Alex worked tirelessly to establish the foundation, drawing on his father's connections and resources to get everything off the ground. He named it the Path to Potential Foundation, a place where underprivileged children could receive mentorship, tutoring, and scholarships to help them realize their dreams. As the foundation began to take shape, Alex's bond with Mia also deepened. He made sure that Mia was a part of the foundation's mission, bringing her on as one of the lead mentors. She had been the one to guide him through his struggles, and now, Alex wanted her to be the one to guide others. The first event Alex hosted for the foundation was a dinner, much like the one he had shared with Mia months before. This time, it was a celebration of the foundation's official launch. Mia stood beside him, her smile as bright as ever. "I never thought this day would come," Mia said, her voice filled with emotion. "When I first met you, Alex, I never imagined I'd be standing here, helping others like this." Alex smiled, feeling a rush of gratitude. "None of this would have happened without you, Mia. You showed me what it meant to believe in someone. You showed me that success is about more than just grades. It's about lifting others up and giving them a chance to shine." As the night wore on, the event was filled with energy, laughter, and hope. Alex's father, who had initially been skeptical about his son's mission, now stood proudly by his side. Watching his son take the reins of something so meaningful, something so impactful, made him realize just how far Alex had come. But it wasn't just about Alex's father. It was about Mia, about every child that would now have the opportunity to reach their full potential. And in that moment, Alex realized that this was the true meaning of success, not the grades, not the business deals, not the praise, but the impact he had on others' lives. He had taken what Mia had taught him, and he had passed it forward to help others. He had turned his struggle into strength, and now he was giving others the chance to do the same. It was a feeling of fulfillment unlike any other. And as Alex looked around the room, he knew that this was just the beginning. The foundation was growing, and with it, the number of lives that could be changed. Mia had shown him the way, and now Alex was showing others how to find their own path to success. The Path to Potential Foundation continued to grow, with more children enrolling in the programs Alex had set up. Each day, Alex watched as kids, just like he once had been, began to believe in themselves, their dreams, and their abilities. Mia, as the lead mentor, worked tirelessly alongside Alex, helping the children not just with their studies, but with their personal growth. She taught them to believe in the power of persistence, to understand that failure was not the end, but a stepping stone to success. It was a mission that became bigger than anything Alex had ever imagined. One afternoon, as Alex walked through the foundation's newly opened learning center, he felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. The walls were lined with photos of the students who had been helped, and each story represented a victory, a step forward. He felt a deep satisfaction knowing that the foundation was making a real impact. But it wasn't just about the children, it was about the entire community. Alex's father, once a skeptical businessman, had come around. He had watched his son's growth, the way he had taken his success and turned it into something meaningful. The change in their relationship had been profound, but it was also the change in his father's approach to life that stood out. One evening, as Alex and his father sat in the living room discussing the foundation's progress, his father looked at him with a rare warmth in his eyes. "You've really turned things around, son," he said, his voice tinged with pride. "Not just for yourself, but for others. I never imagined this would be the path you'd take, but I'm proud of you." Alex smiled, feeling a lump form in his throat. It was the first time his father had spoken to him like this in years. The validation he had longed for, the respect he had fought so hard to earn, was finally his. But Alex knew that this success wasn't his alone. Mia was the one who had ignited the spark within him. She had shown him the power of believing in someone when no one else did. She had believed in him when he had given up on himself. "It's not just me, Dad," Alex replied, his voice steady. "Mia is the one who made this all possible. She's the reason I'm here, and she's the reason these kids have a chance." His father nodded, understanding now what Alex had been trying to tell him all along. He had seen the power of a single person's belief, the way it could change a life, and, in turn, change the world around them. As the months passed, Alex's foundation continued to thrive. The story of his turnaround, from a failing student to the founder of a life-changing organization, became well known in the community. People saw Alex not just as the son of a billionaire, but as someone who had used his privilege for a greater purpose. The foundation's work didn't go unnoticed. Local schools began reaching out, asking to partner with the Path to Potential Foundation. Companies offered to sponsor events, and soon, Alex and Mia were hosting annual galas to raise funds for their mission. It was a dream come true for both of them, but it wasn't just about the money. It was about the children whose lives were being transformed, the young minds who were being given a chance they never thought they had. One evening, after a successful gala, Alex and Mia stood together on the balcony of the foundation's office building, overlooking the city. It was a moment of quiet reflection. "I never imagined it would turn out like this," Mia said, her voice filled with emotion. "We've really made a difference, haven't we?" Alex nodded, his eyes fixed on the city below. "Yeah," he said, his voice full of pride. "We've made a difference." They stood there together, knowing that the journey was far from over. There were still so many more kids to help, so many more lives to change. But in that moment, they allowed themselves to feel the weight of what they had accomplished. They had taken a dream, a vision, and turned it into something real. And for the first time in a long time, Alex realized that this, helping others, changing lives, was the success he had been searching for all along. As the foundation continued to grow, Alex found himself constantly reflecting on how far he had come. The organization had become more than just a project. It had become his life's work. But it wasn't always easy. Running a foundation took dedication, perseverance, and a deep sense of responsibility. There were days when Alex felt overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the task at hand. But every time he looked at the kids whose lives were changing, he knew it was worth it. One afternoon, as Alex walked through the learning center, a young boy approached him. The boy, about 10 years old, was a recent addition to the program. His name was Samuel, and like Alex, he had struggled in school for a long time. He came from a poor family, and his potential had been overlooked by everyone around him. But Samuel had been given a chance by the Path to Potential Foundation. "Mr. Alex," Samuel said shyly, his voice barely above a whisper, "I wanted to thank you for everything. I never thought I could be good at anything, but now I feel like I can do it." Alex smiled, bending down to meet Samuel's eyes. "You don't need to thank me, Samuel. You did the hard work. You believed in yourself, and that's what made the difference." The boy's eyes lit up, and for a moment, Alex could see the confidence that was starting to grow within him. It reminded him of the first time he had met Mia, when he had felt like there was no way out of his struggles. Now, he was watching a child just like he once had been, finding his way through the same process of believing in himself. After that encounter, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the right path, but he also realized that there was still so much more to be done. The foundation had been successful, but there were still countless children out there who hadn't received the same opportunities. That night, as Alex sat in his office, working late as usual, he thought about what the next step for the foundation should be. The idea came to him suddenly. He needed to expand. The mission of the foundation had always been clear: to provide opportunities for children to succeed, no matter their background. But now, Alex wanted to take it further. He needed to reach more kids, more communities, and create lasting change on a larger scale. With renewed determination, Alex set to work on a plan to expand the foundation's reach. He approached his father with the idea, explaining how he wanted to partner with local schools across the country and offer scholarships for underprivileged students. His father, who had always been supportive, was impressed by Alex's vision. "You've come a long way, son," his father said, his voice tinged with pride. "And this is the kind of legacy I can get behind. Let's make it happen." Alex smiled, grateful for his father's support. It was another step in the right direction. Over the next few months, Alex worked tirelessly to build partnerships with schools, businesses, and other organizations. The Path to Potential Foundation expanded its programs, providing scholarships, mentorships, and educational resources to children across the nation. With each new partnership, Alex felt a sense of pride in knowing that the foundation was touching more lives. But even as the foundation grew, Alex never lost sight of what had started it all: the belief that every child had the potential to succeed, no matter their circumstances. As the foundation reached new milestones, Alex continued to work closely with Mia. She was still the heart of the organization, guiding the kids and providing the kind of mentorship that had changed Alex's life. Together, they built a network of support, not just for the children they were helping, but for the communities they were empowering. One evening, at the Foundation's annual gala, Alex stood at the podium, looking out at the sea of faces in the audience. The room was filled with donors, mentors, and supporters who had helped make the Foundation's mission possible. Alex felt a deep sense of gratitude, but also a sense of responsibility. This wasn't the end of the journey, it was just the beginning. As he spoke to the crowd, he shared the story of how the Foundation had started, the challenges they had overcome, and the incredible progress they had made. He spoke of the children whose lives had been transformed, and of the work that still lay ahead. "None of this would have been possible without you," Alex said, his voice strong and steady. "But most of all, none of this would have been possible without Mia. She showed me that the most important thing we can give someone is belief in themselves. And that's what we're doing here, giving kids the belief they need to succeed." As the crowd applauded, Alex caught Mia's eye. She smiled at him, proud of what they had accomplished together. And in that moment, Alex realized that no matter how far they went, the Foundation would always be about the people, the children, the mentors, and the communities who believed in one another and helped each other grow. The journey was far from over, but Alex knew they were on the right path, one that would change countless lives for years to come. As the years went by, Alex found himself more deeply embedded in the work of the Path to Potential Foundation. What had started as a small initiative to help a few kids had transformed into a nationwide movement. The Foundation had expanded its reach to hundreds of schools across the country, and thousands of children had benefited from its mentorship, scholarships, and educational programs. Alex felt immense pride as he walked through the halls of the Foundation's new headquarters, knowing that it had become a beacon of hope for so many. Yet, despite all the success, Alex remained humble. He never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot the girl who had changed his life. Mia. Mia had become not only a trusted mentor, but also a close friend. Her presence at the Foundation was invaluable. She continued to inspire the children she worked with, showing them the same belief in their potential that she had shown Alex. It was something that could not be taught through textbooks. It was a gift of encouragement, of seeing the unseen, of believing when no one else did. One day, while visiting one of the Foundation's programs in a rural area, Alex met a young girl named Lily. She was an 11-year-old with a quiet demeanor, but her eyes held a spark of determination that reminded him of himself. Lily had been struggling with school, but there was something different about her. She was full of questions, eager to learn, and incredibly curious. Yet, like Alex once had, she felt invisible. Her family was poor, and her teachers had written her off as just another student who wouldn't make it. When Alex spoke to her for the first time, he saw the same hunger for success that had driven him all those years ago. He offered her a scholarship, and from that moment on, Lily's life began to change. It was a reminder for Alex of why he had started the Foundation in the first place. Not for the accolades, not for the recognition, but for the impact it could have on children like Lily, who just needed someone to believe in them. As Lily progressed in the program, her confidence grew. She began to excel in her studies and, more importantly, started to believe that she had the power to shape her own future. Alex could see the same transformation in her that he had experienced himself. It was moments like these that made all the challenges and hard work worth it. Back at the Foundation's headquarters, Alex met with Mia to discuss the future of the organization. They talked about expanding their outreach even further, reaching more underserved communities, and continuing to provide children with the resources they needed to succeed. Mia, ever humble, reminded him of the importance of staying true to the Foundation's original mission. "It's not just about growing bigger," she said. "It's about making sure every child feels seen, heard, and valued. We can't lose sight of that." Alex nodded in agreement. Mia's words resonated deeply with him. He knew that as the Foundation grew, it was crucial to remain focused on its core values, to provide not just education, but also the belief and support that each child needed to thrive. As the years passed, the Foundation continued to evolve. New programs were launched, new partnerships were formed, and new doors were opened for children who once thought their dreams were out of reach. Alex and Mia's partnership had become a powerful force for change, not just in the lives of the children they helped, but in their own lives as well. For Alex, the journey had come full circle. He had gone from a struggling student, full of self-doubt, to the founder of a successful organization that changed lives every day. But perhaps the most important thing he had learned along the way was that success wasn't about wealth, status, or achievements. It was about the impact you had on others. And that impact, he realized, could last far longer than any business deal or recognition ever could. As Alex looked around at the foundation's growing network, the children whose lives had been changed, and the bright future ahead, he knew that the work was far from over. There were still so many children to help, so many lives to touch. But for the first time, Alex felt a deep sense of peace. He had found his true purpose, and he was ready to continue his journey, knowing that each step forward was one more step in the right direction, for him, for Mia, and for all the children who would follow in their footsteps. As the foundation continued to thrive, Alex found himself reflecting on how far he had come and how much more there was still to do. He had built something that was far bigger than just a success story. It was a movement that had given hope to countless children who had once felt invisible, overlooked, and forgotten. But for Alex, the journey was not just about the foundation. It was about something deeper, finding purpose and meaning in his life. He had been given a second chance, not just by the opportunities his wealth provided, but by the belief in him from someone who had nothing to gain. Mia had given him the gift of belief, and in return, he had made it his mission to give that same belief to others. The lessons he had learned from her continued to shape his actions every day. As Alex looked out over the city skyline, he realized that the work he had started with Mia had touched more lives than he could have ever imagined. The path to Potential Foundation had become a beacon of hope, a reminder that everyone, no matter their background, had the potential to succeed. But what filled Alex's heart with pride the most was the knowledge that he had paid forward the gift of belief. Mia had started the chain of transformation in his life, and now he was passing it on to the next generation. One evening, after a successful event for the foundation, Alex sat in his office, reflecting on the future. The foundation was thriving, but he knew that there was still so much more to be done. The world was full of children like him, like Mia, who needed a chance to succeed, a chance to prove themselves. He could feel the weight of that responsibility, but it was not a burden. It was a call to action. As Alex thought about the future, Mia entered the room, a quiet smile on her face. She had always been a steady presence by his side, and now, more than ever, they shared a deep bond built on trust and mutual respect. "You did it, Alex," Mia said, her voice filled with warmth. "Look at what we've built." Alex nodded, his smile reflecting his gratitude. "We did it, Mia. We couldn't have done this without you." Mia looked at him, a sense of fulfillment in her eyes. "I've always known you had it in you." It was never about the grades, or the money, or the expectations. It was about believing in yourself and in others. Alex paused, his mind reflecting on those very words. It had been Mia who had shown him that success wasn't about what you achieved for yourself. It was about lifting others up, giving them the chance to achieve what they thought was impossible. He had come full circle, from being a boy who doubted his own worth to a man who had built an organization that was helping countless others find their worth. Looking at the children whose lives had been transformed, Alex knew that the work was not just about today, but about building a better future for tomorrow. He thought of Lily, and the countless others like her who were now on their own path to success. The foundation had given them the tools they needed, but more importantly, it had given them the belief that they were capable of achieving anything. Alex and Mia stood in the quiet of the evening, looking out at the city below. There were no more doubts, no more fear. They had made a difference, and in doing so, they had found their own purpose. It wasn't the awards or the recognition that mattered. It was the lives they had touched, the potential they had unlocked in others. And as Alex looked at Mia, he knew that their work was far from over. The foundation would continue to grow, more children would be reached, and more lives would be changed. But for the first time in his life, Alex felt at peace, knowing that he had found something truly meaningful, something that would live on long after he was gone. Together, he and Mia had created something that was bigger than them, bigger than their pasts. It was a legacy of belief, of potential, and of hope. In this inspirational millionaire story, a young man named Alex transforms from a failing student to the founder of a successful foundation, helping countless children overcome obstacles and realize their potential. Starting out as someone who struggled with academics, Alex's journey mirrors that of many others who face challenges in life. But with the help of a quiet, unnoticed maid's daughter, Alex discovers the true meaning of success and how believing in oneself can change everything. As Alex's story unfolds, he becomes not only a symbol of personal growth, but also the catalyst for a nationwide movement that empowers underprivileged children. This millionaire story highlights the power of belief, mentorship, and education, showing how even the most unlikely people can make a lasting impact. Mia, the maid's daughter, teaches Alex the invaluable lesson of seeing potential where others might overlook it. Throughout the story, Alex's evolution from failure to success echoes in every decision he makes to help others. This millionaire story not only showcases the power of education and opportunity, but also underscores the importance of giving back to the community. Alex's mission to create a foundation that helps children from all backgrounds access the resources they need to succeed is a testament to the far-reaching impact of mentorship and generosity. By the end of the story, Alex fully embraces his role as a philanthropist, dedicating his life to uplifting others and providing them with the same chance that changed his own life. This millionaire story concludes with Alex finding peace, knowing that his true legacy lies not in wealth, but in the lives he has touched and the countless futures he has shaped.